Goeiedag, good day, fellow South Africans and citizens of the world.
I've been looking around for salvation. I've been looking around for the truth. All around me I see frustration, and I looked all over till I found you. I sit and listen to your stories, and you're telling me, please don't worry. Lot in this world you should know, and love in life is where you should go. If you're looking for somewhere to go, if you're looking for someone to know, if you're looking for someone to guide you, then love in life will guide you.
Goeienaand, good evening, fellow South Africans and citizens of the world, and welcome to tonight's live stream. Well, 90 minutes ago, I got up to prepare for this live stream alleging fraud, organised crime by Shoprite and ABSA Bank. And of course, my guest tonight is Johan Rutt. So Weber Wenzel, yes, we are going ahead. While checking my email, I saw one from South Africa's largest legal company, Weber Wenzel, which obviously drew my attention. Their client is ABSA Bank. Let me show you the document attached to their email. In fact, I'll read it to you. Give me a second. Okay, here we go. Weber Wenzel to Mr. Scott Bolson. Dear Sir, letter of demand in relation to the intended broadcast of the following live Shoprite-Africa's biggest retailer implicated with ABSA and Barclays Bank in organised crime. It says 1. We act on behalf of ABSA Group Limited, our client. 2. We refer to the live event that has been advertised on your YouTube channel, Loving Life TV, titled Shoprite-Africa's biggest retailer implicated with ABSA and Barclays Bank in organised crime, and which has been scheduled for live streaming tonight, 20th of January 2023 at 8 p.m. The live event, well, here we are, we're live. The advertisement of the live event appears at the following link, and then it gives the YouTube link, and a screenshot thereof is annexed, marked A. 3. We note that the live event description contains the following statement about our client. 3.1. Allegations of fraud which appear next to our client's name and logo. And 3.2, Johan Rutt is taking on the big banks, Shoprite, and even the justice system in South Africa. He has developed a strong case and has had many people joining his fight for justice. Tonight we will find out where his court action stands. 4. These statements contained at least the following defamatory meanings, namely that ABSA, point 1, is involved in organised crime. Point 2, is unethical and participates in criminal activity. And 3, colludes with Barclays and Shoprite in organised crime. 5. These statements and allegations are per se wrongful and were published by your clients recklessly and or maliciously and with the intention of defaming our client. They are without factual basis and entirely false and have been published by you with the intention of harming our client's reputation and commercial interests. 6. We are instructed that Mr. Johan Root, quoted in 3.2 above, has made innumerable false and defamatory public statements concerning ABSA in the recent past. Our client has been at pains to diffuse the defamatory allegations made by Mr. Root in various public platforms concerning our client, and our client intends to bring proceedings against Mr. Root in this regard. 7. In the premises, we are instructed to demand, as we hereby do, that you provide with us a written undertaking that you will not proceed with the intended broadcasting of the live event. 8. Should you fail to comply with the demands set forth above by 7 p.m. tonight, Friday the 20th of January 2023, alternatively, should you proceed to broadcast the live event, our client reserves its rights, including to seek legal recourse against you, which may include launching legal proceedings, including a claim for damages and the appropriate cost order. 9. Our client's rights are reserved, and then it's signed off by Dario Milo, partner at Weber Wenzel. Well, first off, let me just welcome those members of Weber Wenzel who are watching tonight. And let me also just say that any legal action that's got to be taken by any party should be directed at me. And because I am the one, personally, who agreed to give Johan Root a public platform. And I just want to make that very clear. And we will be hearing his arguments tonight, and I've personally made the decision to proceed regardless of the legal threat sent to me. Let me tell you something. In the last 24 hours, I have been approached by several other people who are also alleging fraud against ABSA Bank and have requested a live stream. I will be happy to share their stories in the future, one way or the other. I would encourage anyone else listening who has faced similar actions by banks as discussed tonight to contact me through my website at lovinglifetv.com. And if one of the moderators can drop that into the side chat, that would be appreciated. As an old fart, I'm not scared of legal threats. In fact, I see this letter I received as blatant intimidation, bullying, if you will, especially by banks. In fact, I was central to a similar action to this just over 20 years ago, where I went to court and after winning, sued the pants off those who initiated the action. The publicity at the time was quite astounding. Just hope you're listening, Weber Wenzel. I'm going to get my guest Johan Root on so that he can now tell his side of the story. And please remember to register on lovinglifetv.com. I'll drop this into the side chat to keep me kept informed. Here we go. All right, let's get Johan up, shall we? Here we go. All right, let's get Johan up, shall we? Here we. Hi, Johan.
Hi, Scott. How are you?
Good. I can't see your camera.
I'm trying to. Whoa.
Okay, guys. While Johan's just organising his camera, please, if you have questions.
Was working earlier.
Yeah, it was.
Let me see. Is that it? Yep.
Oh, there you go. There you go. Now we see you. I love your wig.
It's the top part of a ghillie suit.
That kind of sums up the situation in so many ways. Now, let's get straight into this, Johan.
Right.
Why do you accuse Shoprite of being implicated in organised crime?
Well, because they are, and they've been confronted. All their board of directors have been confronted. They were part and kept appraised of the investigations in real time over a 3-year period. as was ABSA Bank, Barclays Bank, Liberty Life, and all attorneys and judges and that, and they are guilty of organized crime and being part and parcel, not only in facilitating it, but also being complicit in the cause of it, in that they conspired together with a gentleman by the name of Charles Christodoulou, and working with ABSA, attorneys like Andrew Johnson, and they plundered and unlawfully went after the assets of the Australia-New Zealand group of companies. Principally, the main thing where Shoprite came into it is the company, one of the companies in the group called Theodore 119cc, owned a building in Flagstaff which Shoprite had leased from Theodore for, at that time when all this happened, for 15 years, and it was about to renew. I wanted to call him a gentleman, but he's not, he's really a gangster. Charles Christodoulou, Sharambolos Christodoulou, from the company, he's got a lot of companies called Comdev, had been targeting that building because he's got a very, very close association with Shoprite, and in fact operates a few Shoprite branches, and muscled in. He tried to muscle the building away from us, and then when that didn't work, he solicited and worked with his connections, Andrew Johnson, who's one of the Shoprite not Shoprite, ABSA heavy hitters, and with the people in ABSA Bank, people like Liz van der Walt, Heike Meyer, Martinez Janssen van Rensburg, Jean Pretorius, to name but a few. And with our own attorneys working together, we did not owe ABSA any money. They fabricated a story and basically sued our group, alleging that we owed them money as sureties for another company, Fantastic View Property CC, and they got the show going in the Grahamstown High Court, and it turns out that they only had they lodged it, got the first hearing, which was somewhere in June or July, on the 7th of June or July of 2018. It was basically just discovery issues, which was in front of a Judge Goosen, and they completely deceived us with our own attorneys, who was Megan von Wilderman, and our own advocate Willem Willifie. Made a big song and dance, got huge money out of it, pretended like the matters had been in court, completely manufactured fraudulent orders, and the matters were never in court, never in front of a judge. They just in-house manufactured it, charged us all the money, and then in doing that, they used the fraudulent orders, uttered that, bringing in the master, the Grahamstown master, Flip van der Wal, bringing him into action, and of course then enters in Kurt Robert Knoop. He calls himself Kurt Knoop. You know, he's from Hilton, Kurt Knoop. Must call him Kurt Knoop, not Knoop, Kurt Knoop. Anyway, he rolls in together with Dali van der Merwe, and the next thing is, there they go, working in tandem with Andrew Johnson. The whole lot, we get evicted out of our house. They take the buildings, they take our filling stations, the whole toot, destroy about 130, 140 jobs, all the dependents in all of that, the kids and stuff like that, probably between 900 and 950. And we then discovered that took a long time, took 4 years of investigation, and we discovered, boy, the unbelievable is actually so. It was never in court, never enrolled, never heard, never recorded. The orders by the documentation, not my word, I can have an opinion. I can be an aggrieved person. But I have documents here that was put into the public domain. This here is it's a media statement dated the 2nd of February 2015. It by the Office of the Chief Justice. And it says fraudulent court orders. I'm going to read for you.
I've actually got that document. I'm going to put it up, but this one's actually dated 2nd of February 2017.
Correct. Then we've got, following up on that,
Do you want to just read from that, what it says?
Okay. I'll just read the main parts. It expressed concern about the prevalence of fraudulent orders. But it says, when confronted with an alleged court order, members of the public are urged always to verify its authenticity with the court from which it is allegedly issued. We'll come back to that one.
Mm-hmm.
However, there are a number of things that an individual can look out for that can help ascertain the authenticity of a court order. And it lists a few things. I'll only deal with the three that's really important here.
Right.
The first one says the order will have the emblem of the Office of the Chief Justice affixed to the top of it. Not maybe, not if, it will. It says the date stamp of the court will be affixed. And then the third thing is the court seal will be affixed to the order. Now, the purported orders that we have, I'm only going to deal with 12 for now, but we've got, I think we've probably got 28 or so in total, because when we discovered these were fraudulent, we went digging and found out even more. And it unearthed basically a bordello of prostituted flippin' criminals and judges. Now, we deal with the Judiciary Annual Report. I don't know if you've got that. 2017.
Was that in the same group?
Was it
email?
the stuff that I told you?
Yeah. Look, let's just say I haven't, but just I don't want to waste time with it. Yeah, just
Okay.
Tell us what it says.
Basically what it says now, this is the Judiciary Annual Report of 2017. It's a different document.
Right.
Also into it's the report. You can download it off out of the Government Gazette.
Okay.
Essentially, it says there. Considering the significant impact this is 2017.
Right.
Considering the significant impact fraudulent court orders have on access to justice in society, as well as the syndication of activity aimed at undermining the integrity of court orders, the committee engaged both the SAPS and the Directorate for Priority Crime Investigation, the DPCI, on the issue. So, SAPS and the Hawks, separately. As a result, the production of fraudulent court orders was identified as a national priority offense. And the DPCI was tasked with the investigation thereof. Here's a nice part. The committee further recommended the introduction of a court order template with standard identifying features and the use of the judiciary emblem. A unique court stamp with unique features that prohibit fraudulent duplication was designed for use at all superior courts. These recommendations were approved by the heads of court and, important, has since been implemented. I stress, has since been implemented. We're talking 2017.
Right. Now,
Okay.
are you saying, Johan, that the court orders you got did not have all that information on it?
Plain white paper, not even the registrar stamp, nothing on, plain white paper. And I have them here. Just a second. Here they are, 12 of them.
Okay. Yeah, I can read that.
Right, I'll email them to you if you don't have them. I need to just put it,
Well,
bring the phone.
Just for Weber Wenzel's information, because they'll be watching this.
They've got it. They've
No,
got
but
it.
hang on. Just for their information, Johan. Johan has sent me every single document that he's got electronically. So we have a complete record of all the evidence. Now, Johan, how much does this cost you personally?
It's the total claim, the damages alone, with all my people and everything, is probably going to be over 2 billion rand.
Wow. Wow. Okay. Now
You must remember, it's not the direct. You must remember what these guys do is they plunder you. They will destroy huge businesses, absolutely kill everything off, destroy all the jobs, so that they can just steal the assets that's left and then pick that up for a fraction. This is stock standard. We've got. Listen, Scott. Since I've gone public with this, we have got. There's between 30 and 40 separate groups, all working independently and swapping information. And let me tell you what. This has happened hundreds, and it is happening with hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of people. Now, you need to understand, since I've gone public, because I had no choice, they tried to take me out. Andrew Johnson, Advocate Collingwood, and Craig Preston White tried to take me out, alleging that I was in breach of a court order. And they tried to, they induced Judge Chile to also hand me a fraudulent court order. I actually laid the charges of conspiracy to murder me against all of them and against Judge Chile. So Judge Chile is actually fraudulently charged. He's criminally charged, I should say. The case number is case number 510/9/2021 at the Durban Central. That follows the attempt of those three people together conspiring with Judge Chile to have me arrested and taken to a Westville prison, where I would no doubt have been killed, when Andrew Johnson filed case 446/21 in the Durban High Court, alleging that I was in breach of a court order when I wasn't even defaming him. It was the forensic investigators who, over a period of three years, uncovered all of this. But these were attempts to actually stop us and stop me, and the pressure was put on me to stop all of this. And he had threatened to do so before the time. I've got the letters and the emails.
Now, Johan,
when nothing else happened.
Johan, can you take your wig off now?
No.
Okay. I've just had requests in the side chat, people saying, can you please take your wig off?
Well, do they think I want to look like this? They've had three attempts on my life.
Okay, I understand. All right. Well, that's fine. We'll live with that. Now, look, I just want to say to people watching that I have, since putting up that notification of the ABSA live stream, I have been contacted by several people, I'm not going to say how many, who have similar allegations against ABSA. And they are willing to come onto live streams and present their cases. There is clearly something to answer here. Why would several people in South Africa be approaching me and saying that they have a similar story to tell? And not only that, there are people who have committed suicide as a result of these foreclosures on their properties and things like that. And you wonder if they are all bona fide when you hear what's going on. Now, getting back to your case, Johan.
Cases.
How serious?
Cases.
Go
4
ahead.
companies.
Sorry?
4 companies, not one case, 4 companies. Case 5078, 5079, 5080, 5081 in the Grahamstown High Court. That's of the year 2016. Right.
Okay. Now, how serious is this internationally? I mean, if ABSA Bank, for example, is found to be committing fraud, what will happen?
What you must understand, Maria Ramos is implicated personally as well. Barclays Bank is implicated personally as well.
They're based in the United Kingdom.
Yeah, Barclays Bank PLC, because at the time when they filed these, you know, when they started their nonsense, it was a complete setup. We didn't owe them the money. I've got 2 documents here.
Yeah.
Thank God I made my attorney. I drafted them. I made 2 of the attorneys that acted for us, put them on their letterheads and send them to ABSA and to Andrew Johnson. We didn't know our legal team was actually in bed with them. We didn't have a clue. You just couldn't believe it.
Wow.
But we said, you know, you're claiming that we owe this money, produce the legal nexus, produce the resolutions. You claim that our companies are surety for this other company, Fantastic View Properties, in which at one time I had been a minority shareholder of 40%. The majority shareholder at all times, 60%, was a man by the name of Stanley Goldwana. Stanley Goldwana and I had been good friends, started off, but with the benefit of hindsight and time passing, I discovered that he'd actually been captured himself. Charles Christodoulou was working with his second wife, Temperance, who was actually a witch. She was practiced voodoo and all of that. And Charles Christodoulou got involved there, working through Temperance. And of course, with Andrew Johnson and attorneys Gary van Wyk, all of them zeroed in on us. I was made the executor of Stanley's will. I've still got the will, yeah. They managed to actually get Gary van Wyk fraudulently appointed as curator bonus, and they attacked us from 2 different sides. But my concern here is we're going back to ABSA. We can do that, but there's so much, because in all of this is going to be implicated also later is Petro SA, who's wholly owned by the Central Energy Fund, which is owned by the government of South Africa. And at the time when this happened, around about 2018, I also had letters written that by my then attorney Andre Kitching to President Ramaphosa, his brother-in-law Jeff Radebe, who at that time was Minister of Energy, Tito Mboweni, and Pravin Gordhan. Not only were they emailed to them, they were delivered at my insistence. They were delivered by courier to their offices. Those letters cost 1,000 Rand each to be delivered by those couriers. The waybills are here, they signed. There's even an acknowledgement of debt from Pravin Gordhan's office. I am now here today, as I'm sitting here, according to the criminal laws, the criminal acts, I'm accusing the government of South Africa of being a criminal organization.
We know that.
That actually initiated, caused, used Petro SA, which they had full control over, or if they didn't do it directly, they were informed in writing about it and didn't do anything about it. And guess what? It's the same judge, Judge Pickering, that we're talking about with these 4 companies, the same Judge Pickering and the same Registrar Bakitsha is there, and it's also, it doesn't fit. It's not stamped nothing. We checked the court rolls, everything, same story. So we're talking one sordid big mess here, and it's Petro SA, it's Shoprite, it's Liberty Life, it is ABSA, it is Barclays Bank. They are totally and utterly, there's no way out of it. Now, if you actually look at the Code of Judicial Conduct, which you can download from the Government Gazette, it's 35802. The judges are absolutely and totally, utterly screwed, because a judge can. There's if you look at there's a section that protects judges from being sued civilly. That's actually quite evil, because it's an old apartheid law, so a judge can do whatever he wants, and you can't sue the judge. But a judge can rape, then he's a rapist. A judge can murder, then he's a murderer. A judge can be involved in organized crime, then he's a gangster. Now, these judges by these documents that are out, that was put out by the Office of the Chief Justice. If a judge sees that, if an attorney sees that, if anybody sees that, remember these things were put out in the public domain for you and me and the man in the street to be able to discern what is a fraudulent order and not.
Right.
How much more a judge? How much more an advocate? How much more an attorney? So now that makes the judges, the attorneys and everything, they're complicit. We actually have an organized crime syndicate. It is a system. It is not a dirty judge here and a dirty attorney and a dirty advocate here. You have an organized crime bank. All four, by the way, all four major banks. We've got hundreds of cases. We've got plenty of judges involved. These investigations that uncovered this is over a period of 3.5, 4 years. Every single email and letter that went out as it was investigated, everybody was included from the word go. All the judges, all the attorneys, all the registrars of the courts, everybody, our attorneys, ABSA's attorneys, ABSA, the whole toot. They were all included over a 3.5 year period. They never answered a damn thing. They are guilty because Section 34 of the Prevention and Combating of Corrupt Activities Act says they are. I'm not making allegations. I'm making straight out accusations and I'm calling them out. Now it's too late because it's in the international domain. I've got to be very careful here now, so I'm asking your viewers to bear with me because there's a lot of very, very good things that have happened, and we are overwhelmed by what's happening, and it's happening very, very fast. Since I went public, and I had no choice because they were going to kill me anyway, so I thought, oh well, just go for it. People have come forward, whistleblowers. We thought everybody that all judges were dirty. Everybody was dirty. I'm gonna say that we're pleasantly surprised by how many are coming forward, and you must understand their position. They in a pool of piranhas.
Yeah.
If they don't swim with the shoal and they act a little bit different or funny, they will be killed. They will be taken out. So we have understanding for that. That's the same thing with the masters. It's the same thing with some of the liquidators. Some of the people, I'm going to say, masters, liquidators, judges, registrars of the court. I'm going to pool the whole lot, and I'm going to say, out of all of that, out of all those disciplines, we've had people that have come forward. Some have clearly got an attack of conscience. They've come and they are coming forward and they're leaking out the stuff. And they've shown us where to look, how to look, all of that. Some people have actually developed cancer, and their conscience, they're scared of fear of facing God, and thank God some of them are scared of that because it's a terrible and fearful thing. People don't really know God, but I can tell you what, if you have a real meeting with God, it's another story. Now, these guys are coming forward and they're helping, these judges and liquidators and attorneys and advocates and stuff like that will have heart attacks if they know what's coming out. And it's coming out in droves. I mean, people in the bank have come forward and they are, and you must remember, this is in over 30 separate groups. It's not to me. The whole thing has been set up so that if I die of COVID or get assassinated, it's not going to change a damn thing. We knew what would happen, and we've got very, very, very good help from a lot more experienced people than I wouldn't have stood a chance at all. And so everything that I say to you, it's already in a lot of different places, domains, overseas, locally, in a lot of different, I'll just say that it doesn't matter if you hit 5 or 6 places, it ain't going to go. And it's poised so that if any one of these people get assassinated, get taken, or die in any unnatural way, it's uploaded in I don't know, I don't understand the technical thing. Then there's access codes that's going to go out up, I don't even know how many thousand people. And the judges and the attorneys and that, and the banks and all that will be included. Shoprite checkers will be included. Now getting back to Shoprite. Every single one of these emails went out to all of them, including Christo Visa. The whole board of directors. Now, Charles Christodoulou is involved with Shoprite checkers. We're extracting all the stuff out of them right now. Kurt Knoop was selected by ABSA and Andrew Johnson. They are fuss. Do you know something, Scott? You're not going to believe this. They went so far, but why I say this is an entire system is that, first of all, in March of 2021, myself and an investigator went and saw Advocate Willie Hofmeyer. We had 2 meetings with him up in Pretoria. He used to be the head of the former head of the Asset Forfeiture Unit in the National Prosecuting Authority. And we met with General Labaya. Now, that was in 2021. Now, these documents that I've just mentioned is 2017. We didn't know about those then. But when these fraudulent orders were put in front of them, they identified them as fraudulent in 20 seconds. Wow. We didn't know at that time. We didn't know at that time that the Hawks had already been engaged according to these documents and by the Office of the Chief Justice, to sort this out and investigate, and they mandated to deal with it. We didn't know that. I know that now because we've uncovered all of this. The point simply is this. There's nothing new. The fact that it was addressed is because of the prevalence of it. We're not talking an isolated case. Rather, now I must give credit where credit is due, rather than to lay the charges at that time, some of the groups and the members and stuff like that suggested that this was so unbelievable that I didn't lay the charges, I didn't fill in the affidavits. We wanted to see, we expected that these guys would start covering their backsides and implicate more people, as they start going. Well, the chief registrar in Grahamstown is a lovely, lovely lady called Lauren Marshall-Reen. Beautiful girl, Christian lady. Man, when the pressure hit, she actually, together with her registrars, Bakicha and the whole gang that was down there, they must have had the whole of Grahamtown, the varsity, all the judges, all the attorneys, all the advocates. They must have worked right through the night. But they manufactured what they called their investigation findings and took pictures of the outside, what they allege was the outside of the files that couldn't be found, and gave a report and even manufactured a fraudulent court roll for those 3 dates, the alleged dates, the 24th of June, the 14th of August, and the 22nd of August. Andrew Johnson did an affidavit to say he was there at the giving of the orders. Mike van der Veen, the attorney in Grahamstown acting for ABSA with Johnson being the correspondent attorney, he's got an affidavit in to say he was in court all 3 days at the seat of the court, himself, personally, nobody else. Aside from them being absolutely, totally fraudulent, not by my saying, but by the documents of the Office of the Chief Justice, as I've said, you're not going to believe this. The 24th of July, there's people now, I tell you what, that are they're gonna lose control of their bowels about what I'm going to say now. The 24th of July of 2018, I've got the documents here. All courts were in recess, I think between the 2nd or 3rd of July till the 29th of July. The courts were on holiday. They manufactured a court roll with 43 cases listed there. The court wasn't there. The people were on the beach. Unbelievable.
Well,
Unbelievable.
now,
Scott, unbelievable.
okay. Now, Johan, you've mentioned Shoprite a few times, and I've had
Yeah.
people asking who's actually implicated at Shoprite. Do you want to go in detail as to who you're alleging
Yes.
Shoprite is involved in this? And is Christo Wiese himself involved?
Christo Wiese is implicated because he was personally cited in numerous emails while this happened. In fact, this letter that Weber Wenzel wrote to me when they tried to also, the same thing they did to you, they tried to scare myself and IG World Network. They tried to stop the airing of that one, which by the way had almost 2 million views the first night. The whole of Shoprite, all the board of directors, including Christo Wiese, were included. I've got his PA's email address. Her name is Anel.
Does that include Whitey Basson as well?
No, Whitey Basson doesn't include him.
Okay.
Well, if he was on the board at that time, it might include him because as a director he would then know. But as far as I know, I didn't cite Whitey Basson directly, but I did cite the board of directors and a few of them by name. But Christo Wiese definitely, yes.
Right. Okay. I just asked that question because someone asked that in the side chat. All right. Carry on.
And they were all informed. When we started engaging, Attorney Ricky Erasmus again addressed that with them, but they know the whole story. They were informed of it. They were informed of the criminality of it. But because there's definite indications that Brian Heiberg, and we suspect, we know Chris Tudulu was busy doing a deal there. I would definitely say with Brian Heiberg and likely De Toy and probably Andre Vissers. I'm now guessing about the others, but I'm pretty sure it would include Brian Heiberg because he's their main property guy, leases and stuff like that. But the point is that the board of directors of Checkers knows about it, and they were told about it. They had every opportunity to, first of all, it's mandatory that even the allegations of serious crime like this had to be reported to the Hawks. You don't have a choice. Section 34 says, even allegations have to be reported.
Right.
You can't take it upon yourself to investigate and get your own findings. There's nothing stopping you from investigating, fine. But you still have to give it to the Hawks to investigate. So they were told that over and over and over. So as they sit right now, I'm calling Christo Wiese out and I'm saying that he is guilty of concealing, knowing about it, because that's how it works. If you ought reasonably to know about it and you keep quiet, you're concealing, you're aiding and abetting. Now, of course, Shoprite, it is absolutely clear. You must remember, we were coming to the end of that particular lease after 3 periods of 5 years, and it was coming to an end in March of 2019. They'd been given a very, very preferential rental at that stage because they had actually sorted and decked the whole shop out, at their expense. So they were given a preferential rental to amortize their input costs over the 15-year period. Now we were getting to the end of the 15-year. So Brian Heiberg, he concealed this in the recent letters, and so did Checkers, and so did their legal beagle. But the point is, they said that when they were getting shaken up, incidentally, our companies aren't liquidated. I went to CIPC, they're not liquidated. We're now waiting to see if Kurt Knoop's going to try and fraudulently put papers in there to liquidate it and have it, on record at CIPC that they liquidate. They're not liquidated.
Wow.
I actually went and opened a bank account after 4 years later.
Obviously not with ABSA.
Well, the point is, either the companies are liquidated or they're not.
Yeah, no, I get what you're saying.
All right, now we get to Shoprite Checkers. They continue. We suspect that we've extracted from them that they're paying the rentals into the trust account of Nancy Knoop, which is Kurt Robert Knoop. And we suspect that there's some money laundering happening because it would continue. It would appear that they continued paying at that lower rental, just with the normal escalations. But we know that Charles Christodoulou would never have accepted that. And it's 4 years later. We suspect that there's laundering going on and that there's going in two different accounts, because Shoprite very carefully worded their letter when it was demanded in the demands, their POPIA or something like that. It was demanded that they disclose what the story is. The wording goes something like this: that our rental and other financial obligations. Now, in 15 years of them paying that their rent, it was always just the rent. I don't know what this other obligations, financial obligations are that they refer to. But I suspect it's a very careful play on words so that they could later turn around and say, but we didn't really lie, because we did say other financial obligations. But now this is brand new. Now I've got money on it, Scott, that Shoprite is hiding it, because there's a deal that's gone on between Christodoulou, Shoprite, Kurt Knoop, Johnson, and all these guys. And they used ABSA as the conduit to actually get to us.
I get it.
They also used Liberty Life to get to us. We'll get to that. That's another story for another day. But the point is this, that Shoprite is now guilty, and I'm calling them out, and I'm calling their board of directors out. By the way, that includes Wendy Lucas Bull. Let's mention that good lady's name here. I'm calling her out because she was at ABSA until recently, and then all the dealings that we had about all the fraud and stuff like that, and corruption and organized crime at ABSA, she knew about. She's recently moved from ABSA straight to Shoprite. I think she's a chairwoman or chair lady or something, or CEO or something like that. She's now walked in, and so she's going to get a double whammy. Because if organized crime and fraud and corruption and stuff like this happens, and you know about it, and you don't report it, it's an offense. You're guilty.
Now,
you partake.
Now, Johan, these are very serious allegations to make against Shoprite.
No, they're accusations, Scott. They're accusations.
Yeah, but they're very serious accusations to make against such a huge business.
Exactly. They've always been, it would appear, above the law. Judge Zondo, I mean, in his commission, his findings were that, and you can read it, it's all over the place. Although, you know, it spins wheels, they said, the huge companies are implicated in all of these allegations without, play around and not doing anything. They are serious. They couldn't be more serious. These crimes and laws that we're talking about, basically, it runs parallel and in tandem and are templates, more or less, of the RICO Act, which is an international racketeering act, and most countries, with small little changes, basically it's the RICO Act, racketeer influence, corrupt organizations. That's how they really nail organized crime.
Right.
So they are serious, and these are the charges. We're talking corruption. We're talking fraud. We're talking uttering. ABSA, Barclays, Shoprite, the whole lot know about these things. These things were pointed out to them. The fraudulency of the orders were pointed out to them. They had the opportunity, if they were not guilty, they had the opportunity of saying, whoa, Mr. Rutt, we didn't know about that, but we will report that to the Hawks. That's what they should have done. But they couldn't. And they wouldn't. And so guess what? Welcome to organized crime, Shoprite. Welcome to organized crime, the board of directors. Welcome to organized crime, Mr. Visa. That includes Barclay.
Okay, now Johan, can Shoprite's formidable legal armada, or claim attorneys, client privileges, can they try and deflect or defend or cover up clear major fraud in the High Court?
They definitely will. It's been the case all along. You see, what you must understand, this entire system is designed so that, and has been designed and has been functioning for about the last 30 years that I'm aware of, where because of the complexity of the law and Latin and stuff like that, it's designed so that a guy like you and me, when something like this happens, you've got to go normally to an attorney.
Yeah.
That attorney, we haven't found one yet that's clean that'll take it on, because they either or, without exception, part of some bank panel. That's where their money comes from. And I don't care which bank panel they're on, they all work together. The attorneys are actually part, in general, all part of organized crime syndicates themselves. Now, not all are, but not all judges are, and we found that now. It's coming out, thank God. More than we thought. Same with the liquidators. By the way, there's no such thing as a business rescue practitioner. He's not going to rescue your business. We've got Kurt Knoop and a whole lot others where people have died, where it's just no straight, there's no money owed, no bank involved. They get appointed as executor of wills, and the people don't get their money. The same goes for the banks. People can't get their money.
Yeah.
We've got one guy, his dad died 18 years ago. It's him and his sister. They can't get the money out of Kurt Knoop 18 years later. Nothing. No creditors, no bank, nothing. And the masters are in it. The liquidators and the masters work.
Yeah. Johan, I just want to address people listening and who will watch later. And that is the fact that Loving Life TV does not necessarily accept everything that Johan says, but we are just giving Johan a voice because it's not just Johan who's raising these issues. There are a number of people who are raising these issues as well, and they're going to be talking to us on live streams in the future. And sadly, quite a few people, as a result of some of the alleged skullduggery of the banks, have actually committed suicide, and that to me is absolutely horrific. Now, let's get back to one of the names that you've spoken about, Johan, and that is Charalambos Christodoulou. How does he fit into all this?
Well, he's been into property, and he's been involved with Shoprite. He operates a few Shoprites himself. He's been after our property in Flagstaff from about, we signed that lease somewhere around 2002, 2003 or thereabouts. And he's been after that property from Stanley Goldwana for, I don't know, from about that time. That's a very interesting question. Because what happened is he's been trying to get that property for a long time. That's when he started targeting us. But what he doesn't know, and what's probably going to make him lose control of his bowels, is that Stanley was starting to he was dying, and he was captured by his situation and his wife and stuff. He was feeble and frail and so on. And he organized a document, a 2-page document, to get to me, because he couldn't escape his situation. They had him fussed. And he gave me a 2-page document, and I've got it. Just a second.
All right, guys.
Here we go.
Yeah, okay, carry on.
This is dated the 18th of August 2006, presented to Stanley Goldwana. It says consent to pay off and set off, handed to him by Charles Christodoulou. It says the Charalambos Christodoulou, in his capacity as sole member of, listen to this, Lot 86 Flagstaff Property CC, with a registration number 2002 slash 053718 slash 23. Christodoulou had already registered. How's this for a fingerprint? How's this for DNA? He had already registered a CC by the name of Lot 86 Flagstaff property in 2002. He was after this property from 2002. This is how long it took them. I've got an affidavit, yeah, that spells it all out, but he was after this property for I don't know how long. If I actually Googled Earth 86 Flagstaff property CC, and guess what? It exists. And guess who's the owner? Charalambos Christodoulou and Comdev. And it gives his address, the registered office in Flagstaff. Fuss.
But what's the significance of him owning that property?
The significance is this, that Charles Christodoulou was after that property to hijack it and capture it. He'd already registered a CC with that name in 2002. He's been trying all along. And when nothing happened, I've got an affidavit here by Andre Kitching, where Andrew Johnson wanted to set up, acting at the time for Charles Christodoulou, and wanted to set up a meeting with me because Andre Kitching was my attorney at the time. He wanted him to facilitate a meeting, and negotiate a deal that would be mutually beneficial, as he put it. I didn't go for it because I didn't like the whole story. My attitude is, if you want to do a deal, phone me up. Don't come through the back door. That's how I do business.
Yeah.
That didn't work. Enters Gary van Wyk, who then says to Andre Kitching, he represents Charles Christodoulou. Not ABSA. Charles Christodoulou. Same story. When that didn't work, the next thing is, then Johnson also phones. Same story. When that didn't work, Johnson swings in. He gets hold of Liz van der Walt. They supposedly call up claimed indebtedness of the group to ABSA, which didn't exist. And then they use that as a basis and say it's co-sureties, for claims of Fantastic View, which is also in dispute. And that's where Liberty Life comes in, but that's a story for another day.
Now just getting back to Stanley, was he brought in as a director because of black economic empowerment?
No. Stanley and I were good mates when we met. He had actually fallen on hard times. He was about to be sold out by the banks in 2002, 2003, but he had a lot of property. He had about 10 or 12. He had a law degree. He also had a degree in Afrikaans. He was a lecturer at the University of Transkei. He was the chairman of Magwati Estate back in the day when Magwati Estate still existed, and it also won tea prizes, and he had to go overseas. So he was a very, very good businessman, very charismatic guy, really.
Okay, so I only raised
he was
that
60% shareholder.
I only raised that question because it was asked in the side chat. Now, okay, let's move on. Who are the liquidators used to utter the purported liquidation orders to the master of Grahamstown, Flip van der Walt, who used the fraudulent purported orders to appoint Kurt Robert Knoop and Dali van der Merwe as liquidators?
That's it.
Well, over
now
to you.
we in the groups that I am in, we've got more than 40 separate cases where Kurt Robert Knoop features. But those people can give it to you. You're gonna have one after the other. Kurt Robert Knoop is, without a shadow of a doubt, the dirtiest of the dirtiest. And I'm calling him out. I've got him back where him, Brad Elliott, my own attorney in that matter was Gordon Henry de Beer of GH de Beer in Kloof. Where they did exactly the same thing in one of our companies called Excador 28cc. They've been doing this since 2008, 2009, that I know of. He's dirty. He is dirty. I'm calling him out to his face.
Okay.
He is dirty.
All right. Let's
I
move.
know that he threatened people. I know that he threatened people. I've spoken to a lady who was an attorney herself.
Yeah.
Listen to this. Her husband was a builder. Went into business with somebody. They put up a big building, and he was the builder guy didn't get treated fairly. So when he put the company into voluntary liquidation so that it could get liquidated and he could get his money out. You know, liquidator comes in, sorts the thing out, and then apportions who gets what. Never saw a single cent. When they complained about it, spoke to us, the next thing, that was it. They walked away from it. She'd been threatened by Knoop.
Right.
Incidentally, I must just say this, that the other television crew, IG World News, one of their security guys was assassinated a few months ago, dead, stoned, shot.
Wow.
So we're not talking maybe ifs and buts. He was killed. We believe it was a case of mistaken identity.
Well, just moving on, has any judge, attorney or advocate been able to rebut any of your accusations in this?
Not a single one, Scott. All the emails, and I'm probably, when it really got heavy, when I started calling the whole damn lot an incestuous bunch of immoral bordello operators that had franchised, you know, running whorehouses countrywide, like that. In those words, not a single one could even say a word. It also exposed the fact that legal aid is fully compromised. It then went further to actually expose listen to this, the forensic office, the forensic department in the office of the Chief Justice. I've got the documents here. They are implicated because these fraudulent orders, they flew down from Joburg to come and see me. I gave it to them, did the affidavit. They actually sent me a letter to say they're authentic. They were hoping to bulldang us. This is the forensic department in the office of the Chief Justice.
Well,
Legal aid is criminally implicated Andre Brits because Judge Chili gave me a fraudulent order in the Durban High Court, not even signed. They never expected me to turn up. Judge Chili just about, he didn't know what to do. I thought he had swallowed his dentures backwards. He couldn't talk.
now,
He couldn't talk.
Johan, which firms have come up against you or ABSA, and what did they threaten?
Are you talking legal firms?
Yeah, which firms? Yeah, legal firms.
Okay, let's go backwards. Webber Wentzel, done. The same thing they wrote to you, they don't have an answer. I'm very disappointed, I must just say, that Checkers didn't go to their attorneys. But I suspect that maybe Brian Harburg was a bit too scared to let the rest of the guys know, because he's the only one whose cell number I had to invite him. Otherwise, if he had gone to Christo Visa and all these other guys, directors, they may have also got their attorneys in on it. So I'm a little bit disappointed there. I really was looking forward to that. But that didn't happen. So we got Webber Wentzel. Now we go backwards, and then we have got Preston White, attorneys. Then we got Johnson and Partners. Then we got another firm, I forget it, it's a small one, where they tried to hoodwink and pretend that new attorneys, they wanted to dupe me that they weren't in court so that they could get the judge to sign a warrant of arrest for me, and smashed my car window and tried to, as a decoy, pull me away, and the judge was on standby to sign that thing. That's a story for another day. We can go into the methods of the whole lot. Cox Yates, they used the fraudulent order to evict us out of our 13, 14 million rand home in Kindlewood Estate.
Wow.
Judge Pillay, D. Pillay, Madam Pillay, she evicted us off a fraudulent order. That was Cox Yates. Rona Evans was the one attorney, and Richard Hole the other one. But the whole firm knows about it. What we've done is we made sure that the whole lot know about it, so that we can have them in a position where they are all informed, all the partners are all informed, they know about it, because we had found out how the criminal procedure works and the criminal acts work, so we put them all in the place. And also, of course, give them the opportunity to rectify something. So that, don't tell me you didn't know. Now you know. If you really have the heart and if you're a law-abiding person, then act, do something, do what the law says.
Yeah.
None of it. The judges, incidentally, are all, because of this Code of Judicial Conduct, are also compelled to do that. A judge cannot face a thing like that, see a thing like that, and do nothing about it. So all the judges are implicated criminally.
Now, Johan, have you or others you know or involved in this been threatened, or are you in any physical danger? I'm just talking about the wig.
I am. They've had 3 goes at me. It has been reported to the Hawks. It has been reported in writing to a colonel at Durban Central. You know, I know of other people that have been threatened. I'm not going to speak for them because I don't want to, put them in a difficult spot. Mm-hmm. But they've had 3 goes at me. About 2 weeks ago, somebody used one of the little, I don't want to go into it, but it was a case of they thought I was in the car, and he was pulled off. He'd have been dead if it wasn't, but lucky he's 6'6" and weighs about 140 kilos. And in a small little Japanese car, he looks like a bulldog in a budgie cage. So at the last minute, they realized it wasn't me in the car, and that's why he's still alive.
Wow. Okay. So you've told us an extraordinary story, and I hope Weber Wenzel are listening. And I just want to say to Weber Wenzel, be very careful about this, because there are a lot of people who have exactly the same story to tell. Now, if it's one person speaking out, then you can say, yeah, perhaps he's a bit of a Fruit Loop, okay? And Johan wearing a wig doesn't. But I mean, it's what he's saying that we have to listen to. And these other people who've approached me following the promotion of this live stream have talked about people they know who have actually committed suicide as a result of what they call the fraudulent actions of ABSA Bank. Now, this is just completely unacceptable. And that's why I've decided to go ahead, despite getting that legal letter from Weber Wenzel when I woke up this morning to go and start the live stream. And guys, if you want to come after me, that's fine. Just go for it. But we will on lovinglivetv.com, and for people watching here, please, after this live stream, go and register on lovinglivetv.com, where we have our main platform, because on there we can tell the truth about a whole lot of topical issues that we cannot discuss here on YouTube because of censorship. And my message to Weber Wenzel is, look, I'm an old fart, okay? So I'm not spooked by a letter arriving by email threatening me. I mean, it really means nothing. Now, okay, I'm going to wrap up this live stream shortly, Johan, and I hope you appreciate that you've been able to put out to the world your story.
I do. I thank you. You're very gracious. Thank you, Scott.
Okay. Now, look, the question I've got here, and there have been quite a few which I've responded to during the actual discussion, but Ross has written, what I'd like to ask is who one would go to ensure sufficient justice is served at the legal society we're talking about. Would we have to go overseas to get help?
We're fortunate in that we've got overseas people already involved, already in South Africa, and it's actually turning up. I've got to be very careful what I say now. I find myself in a situation that's like way over my pay grade because of the geopolitical stuff that's coming into this now. You must understand that I'm actually ordained pastor. And so I've got a lot of friends overseas and that South Africans that have left and that are in close workman and association with a lot of other churches in America and Britain and stuff like that. And some of these churches have got good lawmakers in. I'm not going to drop names, really. they big names, and they're in their churches. And these guys have taken it up, and they're starting to put pressure on their own investigators in these other countries. And because foreign banks are involved, and because of the level of corruption, we're talking Barclays and so on. Remember, Shoprite is listed on stock exchanges outside of South Africa.
Yeah.
And I must just say a quick thing there that a listed company, the cannabis company like Labat, there's fraud there everywhere. The NPA can't be trusted. Generally, the police can't be trusted. We are sitting with a complete failed state by definition. Mm-hmm. All you've got to do, listen, all that every South African has to do, it's very simple. Do what I did and do what the other people are doing now. We've now got hundreds of people getting educated themselves. All you do is you read the preamble to the POCA Act. You read the Constitution. What is the job? What rights have we got as citizens? That's not happening here. We are all meat and plunder for a completely failed state. It's not just a failed state. It is an organized crime state by definition.
Yeah.
If you haven't been a victim yet, it's just a matter of time. Do you know that we've got an economist, he calculated 2-3 days ago that every South African on average, the debt of the country is an average of 55 million per person, even a day-old baby.
Yeah.
Where did the money go?
I just want to show people something. Okay, I'm wearing this T-shirt for a specific reason. And if you have a look at the back of the T-shirt, Weber Wenzel, I hope you're watching. Okay? Yeah, I have walked with lions and I fear no one.
I can't see you, Scott.
No, you
Just
won't
put
see
on
me,
your
but
thing.
everybody else has.
Oh.
Okay.
Oh.
Now, Johan, thank you. I'm going to wrap up this live stream now, and just for everybody's information, this live stream will be archived on lovinglifetv.com in a very secure location. It will also be copied and distributed to certain people in case these Weber Wenzel guys want to try and pull it down. Look, when banks do this sort of stuff, try and shut up discussion over issues that people have regarding their actions, then you should be very worried about what the banks are up to. They should be allowing free discussion like this. This is very similar to what's going on with the last 3 years, where YouTube have been shutting up anyone who's dared discuss the COVID situation. People don't like it. They like free speech, they like free discussion, and as I said, in the near future we're going to have more people, more victims of the banks coming on giving their story. So don't see this in isolation. What you heard tonight is happening all over South Africa. And knowing South Africa, when you consider that Ramaphosa should be up before the courts for money laundering, for avoiding tax, all sorts of things, and yet now he's just been re-elected as president, you can understand that the fish rots from the head. So what we can do, and brave citizens like Johan can do, is just get their story out there so people around the world know what is going on in South Africa. All right, I'm going to wrap this up. Johan, thank you so much for joining us tonight, and keep in touch.
Thank you for having me, Scott. Just the last parting word to Weber Wenzel. They've got all the documents. Any attorney, any firm of attorneys who actually have the fraudulent orders in their possession and they conceal it, become guilty and become part in aiding and abetting organized crime. You're warned.
Thank you very much, Johan. Take care, and
Thanks for having me. Thanks you, Scotty.
okay, we'll probably chat to you later in the year once you've
Yeah,
hopefully won this
Thank you.
case. Cheers.
bless you. Have a good evening.
Bye.
Cheers. Yeah. Bye-bye.
All right, guys, that was Johan Root, who's the complainant about alleged fraud and organized crime by certain big organizations in South Africa. And I'm going to say just one more time, I've been approached by a lot of other people who've got similar complaints against ABSA Bank. And if anyone listening would like to contact me and discuss actually doing a live stream to put forward their case, go to lovinglifetv.com, have a look at the contacts, you'll see my email address there, send me an email. If Weber Wenzel can find it, you can find it. All right, guys, take care. I'm going to go out with one of our theme songs, and tonight I'm going to go out with Op ons rots, which I think is very relevant to this discussion. Here we go.
Ons loop hand aan hand op goue warm sand, so baie wat ek wil hee, so baie dit brand. Ek staan op my rots met golwe wat bots. Ons het geen vrees, want hy is in beheer. Ons sien al die planne van goddeloze manne. Ons weet hulle gaan nie wen nie, dis geskryf soos 'n duif. Ons sal wen, aanhou glo, want hy is in beheer. Die winde waai sterk, dis kragte wat werk. Die gevoel in my hart, dis vrees wat wil brand. Ons is boere met trots, met my hand in my bors. Ons ken geen vrees, want hy is in beheer. Ons sien al die planne van goddeloze manne. Ons weet hulle gaan nie wen nie, dis geskryf soos 'n duif. Ons sal wen, aanhou glo, want hy is in beheer. Ons sien wat gebeur, die leer sal ons nie steen. Kom staan nog 'n keer, ek is stil, want ek weet hy is in beheer. Ons sien al die planne van goddeloze manne. Ons weet hulle gaan nie wen nie, dis geskryf soos 'n